My name's Kaylin Smith, and my mom has a disease called multiple sclerosis, and my dad has a brain injury, and mine for me is a lot different from other kids, and I'm only 12 years old. She scoots into there so she can get to the sink. It makes me so mad sometimes, and I just kind of want to scream at somebody, but I can't because it's nobody's fault. Laundry and the basement, and take care of my little brother and my sister. I'm serious, don't mess this thing up. Wash the cars, take care of the dogs. I do a lot more work than most of the kids I know.
Kaylin has responsibilities other kids don't have.
Okay,
All right.
But she's 12. When she needs a break, she goes horseback riding with her best friend, Sarah.
Hey Sarah, I'm taller than you.
You got a taller horse.
At first, we would just talk about things we like, what we do for hobbies and our families. She didn't tell me everything at first until I got over to her house.
When I was 4 years old, my mom went away and I didn't understand why. Now I know it was her immune system or nervous system was attacked by the MS, and it mutated it and made it attack your own body. And the first thing she said to me was, I'm not going to be able to play with you like I used to. I'm not going to be able to run around. I'm not going to be able to... she came home in a wheelchair. She couldn't even stand up. And she said she's not going to be able to do much of anything.
Now, if I try to walk heel to toe, I can't do it. I was a mother. I was in my 30s. I had a little girl, 4 years old, and a little boy, 1 year old. And I was told that I had multiple sclerosis. And I was devastated.
A serious disability can change lives and tear families apart, but the experience and the people can also teach.
And around the head green hair.
Kaylin teaches me how to play, because sometimes I get too serious.
Okay. This is my application for Mom of the Year. She teaches me about disabilities and people with it, and not to make fun of them because they are not different from us. When my dad was 13, he was in a bike wreck and he crashed into the other bike and then hit his head on cement, and he has a brain injury.
Oh, it is so sad.
He can't understand what his face looks like. He doesn't understand what his reactions should be. Like, Dad, I was just elected first woman president. Yeah, that's great, Kaylin. Go away. He doesn't understand that you should be really happy about some things and really sad about other things.
I know.
And it's really hard on my mom because she's very focused, she's very motivated, but she can't do it. She didn't have the energy all the time.
Despite her dad's injury, her mom's disease, and all the hard work, Kaylin has grown closer to her family, and her friends have seen that.
After a while, it doesn't seem that different. After we met the family, they are not different. They have certain things they can't do other than other people.
She has a mom with a disability, but her love for me has not changed.
I love my mom because she is the best mom in the whole world.
Partially understand, really small, where she's coming from. When I was about 13, or actually about her age, my mom had surgery on her hip, and that pretty immobilizes you. My mom stayed in one place for a really long time, and I had to do a lot more stuff than I would have wanted. So I can kind of see where she's coming from. She seems to be very compassionate, extremely mature for her age.
I think it has to do with the compassion and maturity that that's what motivates her, I think.
She definitely has a lot going on with her life that she can handle.
I have a lot of respect for what she's doing. I'm the youngest in my family, but you know, I look to my older sisters for guidance and, you know, just advice whenever I need it. And luckily they're there for me and they can help me out when I do need the things.
I'm completely impressed with like the selflessness that she has, that she's willing to sacrifice so much for, you know, for her family. Like, I can't imagine being forced into that position.
I've never had like a close encounter, but sometimes there are old people who are harder on my generation.
I don't think they have a perception right now of what older people are like.
Nice people, but sometimes they have a little bit of the generation gap.
I think that they think that we're sort of ancient.
Getting on your case about everything. And
I've been there at a different time when other things were popular. But I know where you are. You just don't give me credit for knowing that.
A lot of times teens really aren't fair to older people.
They think I spend all my time in the museum, in the concert hall, or in the library.
Like they judge someone by their clothes or the way they act or the music they listen to.
They're into their own world and how things relate to them personally.
What older people don't understand is like, my little world will become the world.
What do I like about them? Well, that they're going to grow up.
I don't like the older person who has something against the younger generation.
What do I think about them? I think I'd like to be one.
There are 4 generations here. 2 teenagers, Brandy and Marcus, their grandparents, Georgia, 53 years old, and Terry, 54, and their great-grandparents. Georgia's mother, Daisy, is 73. Terry's mother, Rose, is 78. Plus 1 other generation, their Aunt Holly, 21 years old.
My grandma and grandpa, they stay upstairs in the main room. They're kind of like the head of the house.
Their mom is divorced, and both mom and dad live miles away. It wasn't long ago that they had to make room for their great-grandmother.
This is my old room that was given up from me to my grandma because she moved in. This is where I stay now. Kind of like my little area.
I think Marcus probably more than any has made the sacrifice, like you said, you know, he had to give up his room.
I was kind of angry at times, but because it was, you know, my room, but since she came, you know, she's my grandmother. I love her, so I gave her my room.
My mom couldn't possibly live by herself. You know, she would have to be in a nursing home, you know. But I'm not saying it's easy and it's not the ideal, but I think that you'll see more and more families with the same situation that we have.
I talk to them a lot. They tell me stories about how they had to walk 2 and 3 miles to school in the rain and the snow, and how they didn't always get new clothes and they always didn't have money, and how they had to work for what they got. When they were 10, they were working.
I have to think not only for myself, but about them. You know, make sure they're doing all right.
Every once in a while, she asks me to do her hair and I'll braid it or something for her. Or if she needs something to eat, I'll fix it for her. Because she can't do it herself. And it kind of makes me feel special that she had asked me to do something like that for her.
All finished.
My grandma, she's paraplegic. I have her, like, she asked me to get something for her, I will.
We've got 4 generations in the house. So you've got me saying something and them also, you know, so you've got all these people giving you orders, you know, and telling you what to do, you know. So I think that's kind of hard sometimes.
keep my door shut in my room. That's about it. I stay in my room a lot.
Sometimes it's like when I'm like angry or something, I want my own space, you know. But when it's like a day like today, I like it because I have things to do, you know. I can help my grandma Rose with puzzles and games and stuff. I'll fix you up, Grandma.
I just think that's kind of cool that you have a lot of older people living with you. Instead of them being somewhere like in a nursing home or something, they can be around their family a lot. And so they don't feel like lonely or anything, or like nobody's there for them.
Brandy, Skip, Mama, your turn.
They're working on building a room for me because obviously sleeping on the couch is not good.
I thought I counted 11. Rose got 11 over there, haven't she?
No.
4, 5, 6.
Think more about them and not about yourself, you know, because what if they weren't here, you know? What if you had lost your grandparents? What if you never knew your grandparents?
When they passed on, you know, you could say that you were there for them and you knew, you know, who they were, and they did stuff for you, you know, return the favor. So, you know, you'll never forget about them.
I think both, you know, the old and the
They need to
young
see you.
can, learn from each other.
My grandmother almost moved in with us, but we ended up putting her in a rest home. She wanted to be in a rest home with more people her age. If I would have had to have changed my living arrangements, I'm pretty, I don't know, not flexible about some things. So
I couldn't really be me.
I just think my grandparents are, like my Gaga and my other grandparents, they all pretty good at, like, just pretty flexible people for the most part. And I wouldn't mind being uncomfortable for a couple years. So I wouldn't mind 2 years of a little uncomfortableness.
I guess I wouldn't mind this.
I would mind it seriously because these 2 years I think are pretty important. So
Yeah, they are.
to like throw away, I mean.
But I'd see them as enhancing and not in, I don't look
Well,
at people.
you might feel different about your grandparents. I love my grandparents, but like, they might be like, I don't know. I don't think you should let him stay out that late. And then
Yeah, that's my
my parents would be like, would feel obligated to change their mind. It'd get like ridiculous, and you wouldn't have a life.
No, I think it's the opposite because my grandparents
spoiled.
spoil me. Go ahead, next one.
Hey, Carrie,
Yeah.
can you bring out number 28 while you're in there? Do you mind? Please.
Best part of the job is just working with the animals, just playing with them. Just like this one, they get to love on you. They'll kiss you and play with you.
Listen to his heart, Carrie.
In surgery, you can get to it. And we had a dog a while ago who had cancer all in his stomach, just everywhere in his body. And you just open him up and you hurt yourself because you know how bad of pain he's in.
In 3 years working at a veterinary clinic, Kerry Strongwater has cared for countless animals. And he's been through a lot of operations.
Probably send some of it off for biopsy.
Most of the animals make it, but not all.
The first animal that I saw died. That was the hardest thing that I've ever experienced here. The first animal that I've seen died. It's really hard.
I think when he first started, he said, well, maybe I can skimp on doing this or skimp on doing this. But when he found out that he was the eyes and ears and what's happening in the back of an animal hospital, he realized what responsibility it was.
He's a sweetheart.
And he really became very compassionate and really would help with the pets.
Sweetheart.
Because animals do need attention.